Tough loss for the New York Yankees on Tuesday night as they drop the game and ultimately the series to the Cleveland Guardians 3-2, and a rough sixth inning that resulted in some light hits, some wild pitches on double steals, and just all sorts of mess in which the Guardians were able to score 3 runs, sunk them. Ben Rice hit a leadoff home run in this game, and the Yankees carried that 1-0 lead through most of this, extended it to 2-0 in the 6th, and that was all she wrote for the Yankees offense. And look, this was a disappointing outing for the Yankees because I think they got enough from Will Warren despite, giving up those couple hits to start the 6th inning there. He goes 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts, and he left the game before any runs scored. They ended up coming in, but it's if you told me the Yankees would have gotten that outing from Will Warren, I would have said they won this game, and they weren't able to, and it's really disappointing to see. They draw 4 walks in this game, 6 hits, but Judge had 4 of those hits. It's the rest of the lineup had 2 combined hits, and that was Ben Rice hitting the leadoff home run. Goldschmidt got a hit. That's it, and man, there's just not a lot to... Mark Leiter wasn't great relieving Will Warren here. You wonder if Tim Hill ended up coming in next. Should have been the one that came in that moment, but, just because of all the lefties and switch hitters in Cleveland's lineup, they didn't start a true righty in this game. It was all lefties and switch hitters in their lineup until they started pitch hitting guys late. But, yeah, it's a disappointing loss for the Yankees. Disappointing outing for the offense. And, again, it's starting to highlight that you take Judge, Rice, and Goldschmidt out of this lineup, and the lineup's an issue right now. But they have all 6 hits for New York is from those guys. One of their 4 walks was from those guys. So you're on base 10 times, and 7 of them are from Rice, Judge, and Paul Goldschmidt. They need more from this lineup up and down. Cody Bellinger goes 0 for 4 in this game with opportunities, with guys on base. He's now down to hitting 173 with a 226 on base. Jazz didn't get a lot of 0 for 1, got a couple walks in this game, but Anthony Volpe, big spots in this game, got opportunity late. Couldn't get it done. 0 for 3 with a walk in this game. He's now down to 209. Jason Dominguez, 0 for 4. He's down to 219. The combination of J.C. Escarra, who started this game, and Austin Wells, who got at bat in the 9th, and he came in as a pinch hitter after Escarra got pinch ran for. Those 2 guys, 143, 179. They're just, Chisholm, 159. And even with the walk, 265 on base. This can't be a 3-man lineup. They can't go through what they did last year where it was like Judge and Soto and nobody for long stretches. And they've got some talent, but, when Jazz hits the ball, he's hitting the ball hard, but he still hasn't really hit his stride yet like he did when he first got to the Yankees and how he did in that first series. Cody Bellinger had a pretty strong first series against Milwaukee and has been ice cold since. Same thing with Austin Wells. Been mostly ice cold. And like I said, I think we're getting enough into April now where it's starting to get some attention. But I believe I said this on a show, whether it was a week ago, a week and a half ago, of that if Austin Wells didn't hit the leadoff home run on opening day, we'd be having a lot of different conversations about him. And I think that conversation needs to start with a guy like Anthony Volpe as well. I know he had a lot of homers early on, but he's just completely uncomfortable at the plate right now. He can't hit the fastball. Teams are going right at him with it. He can't hit it. They're challenging him early in at-bats with that, then going breaking away, and he's flailing. That's how his last at-bat went in this game. You start to have some concern with him of he's great with the glove. He's giving you Gold Glove caliber defense night in, night out, making some really good plays. But you start to wonder if the bat is going to come around. And, it's still probably too early to have an in-depth conversation about that. And I think we'll talk a little bit more on Friday's podcast. With the Yankees having an off day on Thursday, we'll talk a little bit more about kind of where everybody in the lineup stands right now and kind of evaluate whatever does there need to be changes, what needs to happen. But it's just not enough right now from not enough guys. And it's tough to see them waste a start like this from Will Warren. Not that it was the greatest start we'd ever seen, but given the state of your rotation, given the names that you have in your lineup, when Will Warren gives you a game like this, particularly on the road against a playoff caliber team, you need to win those games because you don't know what's coming around the corner for the next Will Warren start or for the next Cookie Carrasco start or the next Carlos Rodon start or the next anybody but Max Fried start right now. So it's disappointing. Like this loss was more disappointing than the other game because you were down 6-0 midway through that game and you felt like you had no chance. This was a game where you were up 2-0 and a game where you got at least an average, I would say a slightly above average start from Will Warren, and you couldn't get the job done. And again, it's not like the Guardians hit it all over the park on you, but they did enough, and they're a pesky team. They always have been like that. They just always seem to be a pesky team, and they were here, and they got the best of the Yankees, which is pretty disappointing to say the least. And you can't, you could say, Mark Leiter had a bad outing. He did. There's no doubt he had a bad outing. He pitched 2/3 of an inning, allowed 3 hits and a walk and an earned run, and all the runs came in for Cleveland while he was on the mound, even though 2 of them were charged to Will Warren. But this is a game they gave up 3 runs. This is a game they should have still been able to get enough runs to score for, and I should say, and win. And they just weren't able to. So, a little disappointing. Don't know. I mean, obviously now there's no must-wins in April. Let's be perfectly clear. But this will be a big game going into an off day. Like, you got to salvage something from the end of the series. You got to take that last game. Flight home to New York will be a lot better if they're able to win that last game. They will have on the mound tomorrow. And remember, it's an early game. It'll be a 1:10 p.m. start time. So day game after night game. Carlos Rodon versus Luis Ortiz. So keep an eye out for whatever we're going to get from Rodon. Could be a gem, could be a bust. I mean, it's kind of been, feels like everybody but Max Fried has kind of been on that roller coaster for them so far this year. But this is a game they really need. You don't want to lose the series. You don't want to get swept in the series and kind of kill a ton of the progress. If you get a win here, it's not the end of the world to go 1-2 in the series on the road. It's not ideal, but not the end of the world. But this is one that they're going to need, and they're going to need more offense. And typically day game after night game is not a great recipe for great offense, but the Yankees are going to need to do something, and we'll see what they're able to do in this game. But as we kind of wrap up this quick show today, I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a scheduling note for the rest of this week / this weekend. So I want to take a little bit of time to do that, and then we will talk about where some of the more in-depth analysis will be coming as we talk about later in the week. For Thursday's show, you will get the full recap of the series finale between the Yankees and Guardians, and we'll talk about what Carlos Rodon and this offense is able to do. Austin Wells will be back in the lineup. Had the day off today aside from that pinch hit opportunity because Aaron Boone said he didn't want to start him back-to-back games, a day game after night game, so he was just kind of deciding which game he wanted to give him a rest for, and he picked this one. But he'll be back in. Obviously, Ben Rice looked... the elbow looked fine. Hit the ball, home run, smashed one home run the opposite way to open the game. So was doing just fine with that elbow. Should be back out there again. Giancarlo Stanton is out there taking BP today. Tuesday. So that's a good sign. DJ LeMahieu had a really good rehab assignment game. So he should be back soon. But those are the kind of the news and notes of what happened, and obviously we will go over everything else that happens. DJ and Stan are not going to factor in, in the short term, but they're just some news to kind of know there, and to know that we're going to go over all of that on Thursday's podcast. And then for Friday, I'm going to take a look at this lineup, and I'm going to kind of see where they stand at that point in the season, where they can improve, where I have level of concern, maybe some panic level. I know last time they had off day, we did the entire team, but I feel like I want to just really talk about the starting 9 right now for the Yankees and kind of go from there and kind of see, dive in a little deeper into what they've done so far, level of concern, level of panic, what the Yankees should do, what fans should feel, etc. on Friday. And then there will be no show on Saturday and Sunday. For those of you that probably know me, my main job is I'm the COO of the Draft Network, and the NFL Draft is this weekend. So I will be out of town and putting in 12, 13, 14-hour days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, working for the Draft Network and working the NFL Draft. So I will not have any recaps over the weekend. I'll be recording our shows both for Thursday and for Friday after the Yankees play. It was actually a godsend for me that this is going to be an afternoon game. So that's going to be really helpful. And I will record all of that for you. And then I'll be back on Monday. So we'll recap the weekend for the Yankees, see how they handled their next series at home, and we will kind of go from there. So I know this has been an every single day podcast, and the goal is for it to be an every single day podcast, but it's just not going to be feasible to get you a Saturday or a Sunday show this week. This is the 1 week a year where it's definitely not going to be possible. But keep an eye out for that. We're still going to have plenty of content the rest of this week. We're going to pick right back up on the following Monday. So there will still be everything that you'll be able to get. Plenty of Yankees coverage and hopefully a couple more victories in the meantime. But let's start with Wednesday. Let's start with ending the series with a victory and heading back home. And we will go from there. We will cover it all. And whatever changes happen to this lineup, and I will go deep into Judge's numbers. I know what Judge is hitting right now. I know I didn't mention what his average went up to, what his OBP went up to. I know. We're going to talk all about this on Friday's show. And we're going to talk about where he stands right now in the American League MVP betting odds, because it's quite frankly absolutely ridiculous in the best way possible. So we will go over all that on Friday's show, but tomorrow we will recap the game, and I will see you all then here on the Bombers Beat Podcast.